Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community.
Romance in the New West will be the topic on Read About It tonight. Hi, I'm B.J. Williams. Linda Leal Miller will tell us about her newest book, The Last Chance Cafe. Susie Beasley will talk with Joyce Macaulay Johnson. Kids Corner will feature Heidi Johnson. We also have Doug Benton and Jim Taubert. Coming up, Linda Miller.
The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It, with your host, B.J. Williams.
Every other year, Tulsa hosts the Celebration of Poets and Writers and the Celebration of Books. And this year I was able to go up and interview some of the authors who come to town to talk with people who attend the celebration. I think you'll enjoy what Linda Miller, who is a noted New York Times bestseller author, had to say about her latest book, The Last Chance Cafe. The Last Chance Cafe is actually just part of a story of a really big family that's had a lot of adventures out west, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's set in Primrose Creek, Nevada, which is a fictional place. There were 4 earlier books that introduced the ancestors of these characters settling around Primrose Creek, and these people live in modern day Primrose Creek.
Now, when you wrote the historical novels, I'm assuming that you did a slightly different kind of research than you did for something that's set in contemporary times?
Absolutely, I did. I have written a great many books set in the 18th or the 19th century, and so I do sort of a running research thing rather than sit down and read 18 books. I'll check facts because I know a lot about that period from working with it. Mm-hmm. The similarities, though, are much stronger than the differences. The women are strong and spirited and goal-oriented in both books.
Well, Hallie is certainly goal-oriented. She's got a real problem.
She wants to stay alive.
I saw her main goal in life was getting away from the problem. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, the problem was connected to her. I don't think we're giving anything away to say it's her ex-husband that she's running
Absolutely.
from.
And as problems will, they just came right with her.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's got 2 young daughters that they miss their dad, mm-hmm. and they are young enough that they don't understand that he's really a bad guy and Mommy is
right,
really...
and they know his email address.
Yes. Helpful children, aren't they?
Yes, they are so helpful.
I always knew computers were a really bad thing.
There are pros and cons.
Yes, there are. Well, now, since this is a fictional place, I'm assuming you have absolute control over it. That must be a wonderful thing for
Actually,
an author.
I like to do that. I like to invent a community. Then I don't get a call from the Historical Society saying, you know, you put the hotel on the wrong side of the street or... Mm-hmm. or whatever, so it gives me tremendous freedom. I invented Springwater, Montana for the same reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, now do you have maps of these places in your home where you do reference, or do you keep it all up here in your head?
It's mostly in my head, and they're usually places that I've been. For instance, Springwater is in the neighborhood of Choteau, Montana, so I know the terrain. My mother's hometown is Choteau. Mm-hmm. And then I spend time sometimes at Lake Tahoe, which is roughly where Primrose Creek is, in a kind of bonanza country.
Mm-hmm. Now, where do you get the basis for your characters? I know some authors tell me, oh, well, my heroine is always a little bit of my mother and a little bit of this and so on. Is that how you approach it?
Actually, no. My characters sort of present themselves basically as a concept, and then I develop them to suit the story.
Mm-hmm. So your concept would be somebody who's trying to get away from a...
Right. I wanted a woman who was running away from a really serious problem, and to have her have to stop and face that problem and deal with it, mm-hmm. put it behind her.
And to find a really warm, accepting small town. I thought that was the other really nice aspect about this book, was it really draws you into this small town. It's a very cohesive one, but also one that can be very welcoming to strangers.
I came from a small town just like that, where the people are a family, and love the small town values and the way, for instance, our house burned down when I was a little girl, and before 2 days had passed, we were in another house and completely furnished. We had clothes, we had toys, we had food in the cupboard. That's the way a small town works.
Mm-hmm. Well, Hallie was very lucky that the snowstorm hit when she was walking in, for more than one reason. I mean, even without the hero there, it would have been a good place to stay.
It was a good place to be.
Stay for a while. And Chance is a person who's got issues. Can we use that term?
Yes,
as well?
yes. Well, I think people, characters at least without issues would be very dull. So, yes, his issues are a little different, but they are kind of in conflict with Hallie's, and that I hope makes it interesting reading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they do sort of start out with they're almost like they're on the same road, but it's like they're trying to go two different places at a different pace. So,
they're both very strong individuals with minds of their own. And that does tend to generate conflict.
Yes, it does. And of course, he's got family living there, since that's his hometown. And I was really impressed with Jessie. Now, is she another one of those, I've got a problem, so here's the character that would fit it character?
Jessie is who I'd like to be when I grow up. She's that beautiful Southwestern woman that you see sometimes with the long gray braid and the beautiful Santa Fe boots, and she's wise and she's artistic, and she's who I'd like to be when I'm that age.
It's almost like she's lived long enough to know what she wants to be when she grows up.
She's a very smart lady.
Mm-hmm. And she offers some advice, but not enough to really get in the way. Now, there were a couple of characters there that saw into the future that I found quite intriguing. Now, do you find people like that in every small town?
Actually, yes. You will find it's quite a microcosm. There's usually somebody who can read tarot cards, and somebody who's an expert on horoscopes, and it just people are so fascinating, people of all types, and I find their interests absolutely riveting, and I tend to put those in the books.
Well, you've got a wonderful cast of characters in The Last Chance Cafe. I would recommend it to anybody. But you do something besides write. You've got a scholarship, isn't it?
I have the Linda Leo Miller Scholarships for Women. The information is on my website, and they're designed as a sort of bootstrap thing for displaced homemakers or just people who are having a rough time. Sometimes there's been an illness or a setback of some kind, a divorce. A lot of our applicants are women with small children, and an education can make such a world of difference to not just their lives, but the lives of their children, which is what I was just telling my friend before I came in. When I die, and I hope it won't be for years and years, I want people to say, that old lady was good to me. And I will feel like I've made a difference.
Now, this is something obviously people need to apply for. There's a deadline, isn't there?
There is, but there will be new scholarships continuously. The deadline, I believe, is December 15th. The information is all on the website. There are some rules attached, and it basically involves writing an essay telling about why they would want this money and what they would do with it.
Okay, so they can go to the website, download the form, or even read it, and then send in the information, and then they'll be notified if they receive it. And it is to help with education.
It is to help with education, but it doesn't have to be tuition. Sometimes what's needed is daycare. A good daycare. How can you concentrate if you don't know if your children are all right?
Right. How can you even open the book if your children?
Yeah. So it can be that, and it doesn't have to be a university. It can be the beauty college or a a computer school or a business college. Just something that will help them get a leg up.
Great. Well, I want to thank you very much for being with us today, Linda.
Thank you.
Thanks. I hope you enjoyed what Linda had to say about The Last Chance Cafe. You can find it at your favorite library and also the bookstore. You can find out more about the scholarship at her website, www.lindalealmiller.com. Coming up next, we have Susie Beasley. She'll be talking with Joyce McCauley Johnson about a book I think you'll enjoy.
Joyce, kind of give us a brief overview of The Harris Men by R.M. Johnson.
Well, it deals with relationships between father and sons.
Okay.
And Julius, the father, decides that he wants to leave his wife and 3 sons and start a new life. Well, 20 years later, he comes back and decides that he wants a relationship with his boys after his wife dies of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
He also finds out that he has terminal cancer.
So it's kind of like a reconciliation type thing.
Yeah.
So how does the story flow? Now, this is an African-American father trying to reconcile with his sons. How does it flow? Is there a lot of anger issues?
Well, yes, kind of. Austin, the oldest son, he loves his father. He still loved his father.
Right.
And he follows in his father's footsteps in the sense that he leaves his family
Right.
for another life. And the middle son, Marcus, he tries to get Austin and Caleb, the youngest son,
Yes, I can. I
to
can talk for a mic check.
communicate
I'm gonna
with
be
each other
reviewing a
because
book.
there's a problem with that relationship.
Right.
And Marcus has a problem with the father coming back into their lives.
So you have this guilt, the resentment, and then, of course, the egos are just flying around.
That's right.
Okay. So this sets a really good tone for strong characters and men that have issues with the relationship.
That's right.
So how did this all culminate? What's the dramatic points?
Well, I think it has to do with the fathers having relationships with their sons after leaving their lives. Julius is dealing with his cancer, and then he finds out that his 3 sons are still available for him to get a relationship with them.
Yeah, so there is hope.
There's hope.
The book leaves you with that fact it's hope. Now, this particular writer, R.M. Johnson, he's written a follow-up on this one, too.
Yes, he did. The Family.
The Harris Family, and that one was just recently released.
That's right.
Well, Joyce, we really appreciate you coming and sharing with us The Harris Men by R.M. Johnson, and also tell us about the Harris Family. This book is available at your local library and perhaps your local bookstore, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
After a short break, I'll be back to tell you about some books I found fascinating.
I know it is wet, and the sun is not sunny.
Hi, my name is Jose Jimenez of your Metropolitan Library Commission. You know, most experts tell us that if you just spend 20 minutes a day reading to your child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're also preparing that child to learn how to read. Check with the experts at your Metropolitan Library for suggestions on just the right books for you and your family. And visit us at our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
With me is Doug Benton, also from the Metropolitan Library System and a regular writer for the Oklahoma Gazette. And Doug, I have a very interesting book today. It's called If Only They Could Speak.
Okay.
And it is written by Dr. Nicholas Dodman. He is a vet. He got his veterinary degree from Glasgow University. Came over here and founded the Animal Behavior Clinic at Tufts University in Massachusetts. And these are a series of, they're real stories about real people and their pets. Some of them are very happy stories and some of them have really tragic endings because these are all animals who have real behavioral problems. And what Dr. Dodman is trying to say is that 15 years ago, if you had a really bad problem with an animal, you had one choice, which was to euthanize it. Today, they're not only drugs, but you can take your pet actually to a pet psychiatrist. This sounds crazy.
Yes, it does.
Yes,
it sounds pretty crazy.
It sounds pretty crazy. But if an animal, especially given the number of pets that are abandoned, that are mistreated and rescued and so on, a lot of animals have some real behavioral problems. They can be treated not only with drugs, but with proper training, but the average pet owner needs some help in just how do you treat a dog that is so scared it will bite anybody that gets near it, and that sort of thing. And so these are stories from his own practice, from people who have brought pets. Not just that sort of problem, but there are pets who, because of inbreeding and that sort of thing, also have some problems. There are some that suffer so much anxiety they pull all the fur out when their owner is not at home. And Dr. Dodman recognizes that most pet owners can't spend 24 hours a day with their pets. So he talks about really the lengths that some people are willing to go to work out an accommodation with their pets, to get their pets functioning at a level that is okay for everybody. There are also some animals that actually did end up being euthanized because there was simply something so badly wrong with them that they couldn't be treated. But all the way through this, it's really a cautionary tale. Think before you get a pet.
Right.
You don't want really to be the person who has to throw an animal away because you don't know how to live with it. We're out of time, so I want to thank you for listening patiently to me. And it's time now to go to Kids Corner, and Kelly Rhea will be talking with Heidi Johnson about some books for our very youngest readers.
Hi. Yahoo for You. That's the name of the very first book that Heidi's brought for us today. It's by R.M. Rao.
Right, and it is a great book to encourage everybody to, every once in a while, try something new.
Try something new. Oh, how frightening.
Little girl is with her grandma, and grandma is surprisingly young in spirit, and she always encourages her. Oh, try riding a bicycle. And little girl, well, I really, oh, try it. Well, she tried it and she loved it. They go mountain climbing that away. She tries pea soup and discovers she just loves it.
So sometimes the unknown is scary for kids, and this might help them understand that trying it might help them not be scared of it.
Exactly, and also, it may give you a great experience that you wouldn't expect it, but until you try, you really wouldn't know.
Exactly.
And it ends up at the very end, the little girl encourages her grandmother to go on the roller coaster with her. And grandma really doesn't want to do it, but then, well, just try it, Grandma.
And she does.
And she loves it. They both go down the roller coaster and go, Yahoo for us.
Oh, how fun. It's called Yahoo for You, and it's by R.M. Rao. And you've brought another book today.
Yes. Well, what first attracted me to that one was Frank Keating's name. And I said, is that the Frank Keating?
Is that our governor?
Is. It is our governor. And it's illustrated by Mike Wimmer, who is also an Oklahoma illustrator, lives in Oklahoma. And it is a wonderful book for children 8, 10, up to maybe 12 years old.
About Oklahoma's favorite son.
Yeah, to learn more about the life of Will Rogers, who was a very plain man, a very good man, very humorous man, very down to earth. Fame and fortune didn't really change him from the way he was brought up and the way he stayed throughout his life. In hard times, he would bring hope to people, and in good times, he would make them laugh. And it's just a very wonderful story.
I'm personally quite attracted to Will Rogers. He and I share the same birthday. And so I've read quite a bit about him. And you're right, he was on the circuit entertaining. And he got more and more confident and wanted to speak. And I'm really looking forward to this book.
It's really, he can serve as an inspiration for anybody that, especially if you find yourself in a situation where you're maybe not as comfortable, keep some of his sayings and words in mind. And
you'll fit right in.
You fit right in.
This is a book called Will Rogers. It's written by Frank Keating, and you can find it at your local bookstore or at your favorite library.
Thanks, Kelly and Heidi. It's time now for the New York Times bestseller list. We'll start out with hardback fiction. Number 10 on that list is Blackwood Farm by Anne Rice, Quentin's by Maeve Binchy, Q is for Query by Sue Grafton, The Christmas Train by David Baldacci, Reversible Errors by Scott Turow, Skipping Christmas by John Grisham, The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold, Visions of Sugar Plums by Janet Ivanovich, Answered Prayers by Danielle Steele is number 2, and Nora Roberts' Chesapeake Blue is number 1. On the nonfiction list, Stupid White Men by Michael Moore is number 10, Let's Roll by Lisa Beamer with Ken Abraham, I May Be Wrong, But I Doubt It by Charles Barkley, Sandy Koufax by Jane Levy, Live from New York by Tom Shales and James Miller, A Long Way from Home by Tom Brokaw, The Conquerors by Michael Beschloss, My Losing Season by Pat Conroy. Number 2 is Leadership by Rudy Giuliani with Ken Curson, and number 1 is Kurt Cobain Journals. On the children's list, number 10 is Double Fudge by Judy Blume, The Wide Window by Lemony Snicket, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter and the Prisoners of Azkaban, also by J.K. Rowling, The Reptile Room by Lemony Snicket, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by Rowling, Junie B. First Grader Toothless Wonder by Barbara Park, The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by Rowling is number 2, and number 1 is Carnivorous Carnival by Lemony Snicket. And with me again is Doug Benton, and Doug, you've got a book for us this time.
I do indeed. It's a book I picked up around Halloween time, took a look at. It's called Ghost, Investigating the, is a good response, Investigating the Other Side by Catherine Ramsland. What she has done is she's kind of immersed herself in the culture of ghost hunters and ghost hunting, and this took a year or two of her time. She had written a book earlier on the vampire subculture, and that kind of led her into, you have a doubtful look on your face. She starts off as a skeptic, or she claims to be a skeptic. That is, quickly goes out the window as she starts hanging out with the ghost hunters. She's very ready to believe stories that people tell her, and as if her friends can't be delusional. Well, most of my friends are delusional. I don't know why she thinks hers are any different.
I sometimes worry about me.
Yeah, actually, you're who I had in mind. But, at one point, a friend of hers comes up and says, I was attacked by a ghost. And what Ramsland tells us, and I quote this, I actually saw the photographs of the bruises. Ooh. Well, and she gives that to us as if we're supposed to accept this as proof. She reaches the point in the book where it starts to read like a sort of Amityville horror sort of thing, which has been exploded as a hoax long ago. And I began to wonder if she wasn't doing the same thing, if she wasn't creating that kind of artificial suspense as if this were a novel. In fact, at one point, she makes reference to a book called The Entity, which was about a woman who was sexually attacked by a spirit. And what she doesn't tell us is that The Entity was a novel. She's using it as proof that this sort of thing happens when the book was supposedly based on a true case, but it was a novel, and it was published as one, and everybody knew it was. She reads popular ghost writers like Hans Holzer and John Fuller. She never references the more skeptical writers on the subject, people like Joe Nickell or James Randi. She doesn't do that for us. She mentions Whitley Strieber, who was doing this same kind of thing with UFOs and with aliens. So that made me a little suspicious of what her motives might be along with this thing, too. And she tells lots of stories from people who own inns that are haunted. In other words, they have a vested interest in making their places sound very romantic, so you will go there. And she even admits, in some cases, that she was given things by the owners of these inns, and then, lo and behold, their stories end up in the book. At one point, she even goes to Burkittsville, Maryland, and tries to scare us with Blair Witch material. No. So the thing kept getting sillier and sillier, in my opinion, as it went on. But she does reach the point at the end where she kind of draws back from some of this stuff and has an overview of the material that she's given you as proof in 300 pages and says, maybe there's less there than meets the eye. So she kind of backs away from what she's been doing throughout the course of the book. Now, it sounds like I'm panning the book, and I'm really not, because it is a fascinating story if you take it as a story and don't believe everything that she's telling you. Don't take it all at face value. It's a very interesting read, and I just zipped through it. I really enjoyed reading it. I just didn't believe much of it.
So, a great thing for Halloween next year.
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks very much, Doug. Coming up next, we have M.J. Van Deventer, Director of Publications for the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. She'll be talking with Jim Talbert, owner of the Full Circle Bookstore, and Jim has a book he'd like to share with you.
Welcome this morning.
Thank you.
I suppose it's safe to say that since you own a bookstore, a wonderful bookstore, that you're an avid reader.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a consumptive reader, and it is a wonderful thing to have to do it. I have an obligation to my customers to read.
Yes, you do. And you're going to talk to us today about The Dream of Scipio.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what drew you to that book.
Well, Ian Paris is a truly unique author. He has written 2 major novels, this one and The Instance at the Finger Post. And in between time, he writes very interesting mystery stories that are based on an art historian. And it's as if he rests up between his major undertakings. And both of the big novels have been very ambitious, and this one in particular is almost, it seemed to me, impossible for it to be as good as it is. He has undertaken to write about 3 characters in 3 different periods: the 5th century, the 15th century, and the middle 20th century.
What a span.
All set in the south of France, all affected by calamities or moments in history that are calamitous, and how these individual characters react to that circumstance. And in each case, they are learning from the prior character. Because in each case they are scholars, and they are, in the case of the 5th century, he is, Magnus Hippomenes is trying to do what he can to save Roman civilization as he understands it. In the course of that, he is rewriting a great work of Cicero, which, by the way, is the book is entitled Scipio Africanus, which was Cicero's book. He's rewriting this book, but he's learning from that, and he's developing this philosophy of how an individual reacts to chaos. In the 15th century, it's the plague. And the scholar, who obviously in the 15th century was not as scholarly as there was in the 5th, is reacting similarly to this circumstance. And in the 20th century, it is, of course, the calamitous arrival of Hitler's armies into the south of France.
Well, without giving away the end of the book, can you tell us what The Dream of Scipio is?
The Dream of Scipio is actually the connecting document. It's the connecting philosophy of how an individual deals with these. And what I'm saying sounds like it might be very difficult and challenging. It's not. It's an exciting novel. Each involves a love story in each case. There's great connection between the 3. It's very special.
And it's a good read?
It's a great read.
What else are you reading?
I'm reading a lot of books. I've recently discovered Alan Furst. Alan Furst writes historical fiction set in Paris, largely just before the Second World War. He has the greatest capacity to invoke mood and the sense of place of any writer of his kind I've ever encountered. I'm also reading a lot of history this summer, for some reason. I got started with John Adams' biography, and then I went back and reread Guns, Germs, and Steel, and it's gone on from there.
Well, you sound like you have a wonderful life with books.
I do.
And we thank you for sharing today.
We are more than 300 strong. We are diverse from all walks of life. We are musicians. We are teachers. We are computer experts and business leaders, each with the same goal, to meet the information needs of the people of Oklahoma County. We are the librarians of the Metropolitan Library System. How can we help you?
Remember, you can find out everything you ever wanted to know about the Metropolitan Library System by accessing our website at www.metrolibrary.org. You can find out where each library is, their hours of operation. You can find out about the programs that are going on, either for children or adults. You can also access the catalog and find out about our entire holdings that can be checked out, books, CDs, magazines, and so on. You can put them on reserve and have them delivered to your favorite library. Thank you very much for being with us, and be sure and join us again next time.